Welcome to This Explainer. If you've ever stared into your saltwater tank and wondered, am I really giving these guys the absolute best care possible? Well, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to decode the secrets to keeping your reef vibrant, colorful, and just incredibly healthy, all through a proper feeding routine. I know it sounds simple, but honestly, getting this right, it's literally the foundation of a thriving tank.
So I want you to ask yourself a tough question right now. Are you overfeeding your marine fish? Look, it is without a doubt the single most common mistake in the entire aquarium hobby. And hey, it's such an easy trap to fall into, right? We love our fish. Feeding them is kind of our main way of interacting with them. But giving them too much food, that leads straight down a nasty path to cloudy water, spiked nutrient levels, and ultimately sick fish.
Okay, let's dive into our core thesis today, coming straight from the experts at Saltwater Reef Co. Here's the deal. Success in your tank isn't about frantically searching the pet store aisle for some miracle, perfect food. Spoiler alert, it just doesn't exist. Instead, you need a reliable system. It's really about finding a balanced mix of nutrients and delivering them on a highly predictable routine. That consistency, that's exactly what your fish are craving. So here's our roadmap to feeding mastery today. We're going to hit the menu, the schedule, the portion check, the rotation, and finally wrap it up with the customization. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the marine fish menu.
Think about this for a second. Would you eat the exact same meal every single day? Like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, nothing but plain oatmeal? No way. Well, just like us, fish need variety to actually thrive. Because of that, we shouldn't ever rely on just one single, sad container of flakes sitting on the shelf for months on end.
Basically, you've got four main categories of food to play with. First up, frozen foods. These are your fantastic, nutrient-dense staples. Think mysis or brine shrimp. Then you've got prepared dry foods, like your pellets and flakes, which are just super convenient. Next are live foods. Now, these are an absolute lifesaver for picky eaters or fish you're just acclimating, but a quick heads up, you do have to watch out for the risk of introducing parasites. And finally, meaty blends, which are absolutely essential if you've got carnivores and omnivores in the tank.
Now, if you're going with those popular frozen foods, preparation is everything. You can't just toss a frozen cube straight into the tank. You always want to thaw them in a separate little container of tank water. And please, do not use hot tap water just to rush the process. Taking a minute to do this simple thawing step correctly is going to drastically reduce that annoying cloudiness in your beautiful display. Moving on to prepared dry foods, the big trick here is matching the buoyancy of the food to the specific feeding zone of your fish. It's such a simple detail, but a total game changer. So, if you have top feeding fish, you need floating foods. Bottom feeders, you need sinking pellets. Because think about it, if you feed floating flakes to a bottom dweller, they're just going to sit there hungry while your expensive filtration system sucks up all that wasted food.
Moving right along to Section 2, building a feeding schedule. When it comes to how often you feed, stability is your best friend. For a moderately stocked tank, twice a day is a really solid baseline. But if you've got a heavily stocked tank, you might actually want to drop that down to once or twice a day using much smaller portions, just to keep waste under control. Meanwhile, if you're keeping schooling planktivores, they need 2 to 3 smaller meals to match how they naturally graze in the wild. The big takeaway? Offering tiny portions a few times a day generally beats dumping in one massive, messy meal.
And here is your golden rule of thumb. Definitely commit this to memory. Feed only what your fish can consume quickly, usually within just a few minutes. Leaving uneaten food to just sit there and rot at the bottom or get stuck in your rockwork, that is a guaranteed, foolproof way to spike your nutrient levels. And you know what that means? Straight to nasty algae blooms.
All right, on to Section 3, mastering portion control.
The signs that you're messing up portion sizes are actually pretty clear if you know what to look for. If you wake up and notice the water getting murky, or you do a test and see your parameters drifting out of those safe zones, well, your first instinct should absolutely be to check your portion sizes. Honestly, overfeeding is almost always the prime suspect when water quality suddenly takes a nosedive.
So how exactly do we fix it? If persistent leftovers are driving you crazy, just follow this simple step-by-step procedure to safely dial things back. Step 1, just reduce the sheer volume of food you're putting in. If that doesn't fix it, Step 2, shorten the window of time they have to actually eat. And if you're still seeing waste, Step 3, lower the frequency of your feedings altogether. Think of it like a systematic triage to protect your water quality. On the flip side, what if you're seeing different troubling signs? Like maybe your fish look noticeably skinny, their colors are looking a bit washed out, or they're just straight up ignoring the food you drop in. In that case, you're dealing with a totally different problem. You aren't overfeeding. You're probably feeding the wrong thing. That's your cue to initiate a gradual switch to better sizes, textures, or even a different rotation. Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, Rotating for Better Nutrition. A really simple, totally actionable weekly strategy is to rotate between at least 2 core categories. So, for example, you might use a high-quality frozen option, like mysis shrimp, for most days. Then, mix in a prepared pellet or granule as your reliable staple. Finally, reserve the live or specialty items as occasional treats or enrichment. It perfectly covers all your nutritional bases without making your daily schedule overly complicated. Now, let's talk about enrichment, because this is a really fun concept. Enrichment isn't just about what you feed your fish, it's about adjusting how you present it to them. Have you ever tried delivering food with a turkey baster to simulate hunting? It's awesome. You can also try target feeding your shy fish right near their favorite hiding spots, so they don't have to bravely compete in open water. Or try offering smaller portions during different lighting periods. It's wild to see how their behavior shifts. And finally, we arrive at Section 5, Species-Specific Tweaks. You absolutely have to tailor your approach based on the unique personalities swimming around in your reef. For instance, grazers, like tangs, they need their greens, meaning frequent access to algae. Your bottom dwellers obviously need sinking food that actually makes it down to the substrate. And what about those fascinating nocturnal fish? Well, they sure aren't grabbing a bite under bright daytime lights. They need a midnight snack timed right to their natural active period. Honestly, the best tool you have in this hobby is your own eyes. Spend a few minutes just hanging out and watching your tank. Ask yourself, do they take food at the surface, mid-water, or down at the bottom? Are they picking continuously at the rocks all day, or do they just chill and wait for a big meal to drop from the sky? The real question is, are you adjusting your routine to match what you're actually seeing? When you put all of this together, combining the right food types, the correct thawing technique, a tailored schedule, and some clever presentation, you are going to see some incredible results. We're talking improved appetite, absolutely vibrant colors, and nice steady growth. It's the whole shebang. I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on the next time you approach the glass with food in hand. Take a step back and really look at your tank. What is your fish's natural feeding behavior telling you? They are literally giving you all the clues you need. You just have to learn how to read them. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. And hey, happy reefing.